Okay, Brian, we'll, just for a big surprise, we'll see you again tomorrow, because they're going to do it all again on Sunday. Fingers crossed we'll get some really nice weather. I'm going across to Angela now, because I think you've got a couple of important things to say.
Well, just one message here. If you'd like to make your way across to the RAF village, to the Royal Air Force Association tent, you'll be able to meet the Blades display team. Now, you'll be seeing them later on this afternoon, and they are there for a little while signing autographs.
Thank you, Angela. A lot of noise now. You'll see two aircraft just coming from your left, two Tornadoes. They're going off the hole. We'll see them later. I'd say the two Tornadoes on the Tornado GR4 was the original, 2 is a fighter version, 3 is fighter version, 4 is an uprated ground attack aircraft. One coming in from the left, one coming in from the right. With the guys on the ground, they know what's required. You now have one aircraft that's called Flight Line. He's basically orientating himself still, but keeping an eye on what's going on. And the other aircraft out to your left, he's going to come in and do basically low-level flight past. He's not going to drop a bomb, not going to fire a gun. He's just going to intimidate the people on the ground to let them know that things aren't going their way. Running in for show of force. Potential of small arms, and the aircraft are now being cleared in for a guns attack. They're using a 27mm Mauser cannon, and they're going to do what's called a pop-up attack. You'll see the aircraft comes in fairly low to avoid any missing around or small arms fire. See there some missiles have been fired. We're now going into the pyro bit. There will be some bangs coming from the ground as the aircraft pops up for its guns attack. Look out to your left, you can see the aircraft is climbing, identifying the target, rolling in now for the guns attack. I say guns attack, it's cannon attack. This is called a dual mode. This is a missile. Dual mode. demonstration. When the wings are fully formed, that's actually the landing and takeoff configuration. About 45-degree bank, that would be what I call standard sort of cruise around the sky bit. When you're going really fast, they're swept fully back to 67 degrees. And again, they've been talking to all the forward air controllers identified another threat. And this time they're coming in with the fairly big weapons. These are 1,000-pound retard bombs because they've actually identified a building where they think all these insurgents are. So the aircraft coming in now, dropping retard. I mean, the bombs are slowed down to allow the aircraft to clear the area before they're headed. You would think job done, but not the case. Of course, the aircraft will stay around. It's possible that something else will happen, so they've got to make sure that the coalition forces have totally disengaged from the enemy and everybody is safe.
Safe? Everyone's dead.
So the Tornado carries this 27mm Mauser cannon. It can carry quite a selection of weapons, in fact. Storm Shadow cruise missile, Brimstone missile, alarm anti-radiation missile, enhanced paveway 2, their laser-guided bombs, enhanced paveway 3, their 2,000-pound laser-guided bombs, paveway 4, 500-pound laser-guided bombs, general-purpose bombs, sidewinder missiles there for air-to-air self-defense, the Mauser cannons. The information comes from a thing called the Lytton Advanced Target. Shadow pod, that's the electronic countermeasures, because there's a lot of wiggly amps wandering around battlefield these days, and you're trying to throw off a radar or a decoy missile away, you need the electronic countermeasures. And finally, a thing called the Boss pod, and that's the pod that carries the IR flares, the very, very hot flares that you can fire at the back of the aircraft, so a heat-seeking missile will be confused and it'll go for the flares rather than for the jet pipe, where again, of course, the heat coming out from the engine. So as I say, that was the roll demo from that 15 Squadron. That's the operational conversion unit for RAF Tornado GR4s. Operation conversion units used to have numbers, but because the Air Force is getting smaller and smaller, lots of old squadron numbers would have been lost. So instead of just having operation conversion units, they have adopted squadron numbers. This one, I'll say, is number 15 Squadron. Technically number 15 Reserve Squadron, because guys, though they're instructors on aircraft for people who are going on to operational squadrons, the aircraft is still there, they've still got the weapon systems, so they are capable of operating in a wartime scenario, so they are a reserve squadron. A lot of our training squadrons, the ones at RF Valley and Linton on News, same thing, you'll find that they've got squadron numbers, and they're classified as reserve squadrons. So the squadron history, the silverware, the standards and all the other things are still there, rather than being laid up somewhere. Hopefully one day, if the squadron is not actually being used, the squadron number, then all of its history is obviously maintained, archived. But it's much nicer when a squadron gets disbanded that the squadron number goes to another RF unit, so the number and all of the history and everything else is maintained by people rather than a historian with a big box that he keeps in the corner somewhere.
Does it have an American postage mark?
Have you seen the Hunters landing with their tail shoots?
Okay, so no, that's okay then.
Tornadoes equally will need to stop fairly quickly on an operational mode, and they don't use a parachute, they have a reverse thrust. You may see the back of the engine actually lands, sort of clamshell doors come around and snap around the back of the engine. The pilot can then bring the power up, but the power is now being pushed forwards rather than backwards. You see the clamshell doors around the back of the engine now. You don't really need to use the reverse thrust on a runway like this, but it's always there, and as Ian was saying earlier, it saves on the brakes.